Hello everyone and welcome back. Today we are going to be continuing with our work in Grandma's bathroom in her house. And I know I said I wasn't going to alter this dollhouse, but due to the really slanted sides up there in the attic part of the house, I don't like working with those for a bathroom because wherever you put your tub, unless you put it on the one totally straight wall, you're gonna bump your head. I just always envision the little doll person getting out of the bathtub or getting in and bumping their head. So I have decided to alter the walls and make the room more rectangular. I know that's going to cut out a lot of space, and there's not really much that can be done about that. So we are going to go ahead and alter those today. And as I said last time in the video, this bathroom was pretty much last updated in the 1950s. So we're going to do a little experiment with mixing some paint. I've got a little door here that I made previously, which is stuck to the paper. And it's not a door that is done well. It's not a fancy door. It's just some remnants of skinny sticks and some remnants of some coffee stir sticks just glued together to make kind of a really rough, rustic little door, because this is a very old door. This was original to when they first, built up the walls so that the roof line wasn't, or the room wasn't so slanted from the roof line. And for the doorknob, I just took a little brad that you use in I was like scrapbooking in that, and I just cut off one edge and I left a little one down there just to make it look like maybe there was a key that went to this door at one time. I don't know. But anyway, yeah, that's gonna be part of what we're gonna install. What I've done is, for the walls, I have taken the poster board, and I don't know if you can see this, but I cut the edge at a slight it's not a 45-degree angle, but when I cut, I took my hobby knife and I went along the edge of the piece and I had it slanted. I had it laying down, but I had it slanted when I cut. My angle is not perfect, but that will be covered up. We'll never notice that there's going to be a little bit of a gap up there. And then I just took some triangular pieces. Oops. I'm sorry, I'm zoomed in so much. I took some triangular pieces and cut those out. And I just glued them onto the back so that they will hold the wall in equal distance from like where the wall ceiling part slopes down. I did not measure. I measure sometimes, but I like to just kind of go with it. So I'm not a big one on measuring. There are various ways to get the angle. What I did was I can't even show you because I'm not up there in the room at the moment. I will explain it when we take a look at the room. And I also firmly believe in using sewing pins to stick foam core together. And I think I will just show you how I do that right now. Now, I am not measuring on this. I just know that I need probably 3 of these to hold the wall out really well. So I'm just going to run a line of tacky glue. I'm going to eyeball where I think the center is. I'm going to run a line of tacky glue down that. Take my piece, and a paintbrush out of there, and I'm going to put it so the pointed end of the triangle faces upward toward the top of the wall I'm going to be installing. And I'm going to put I'm going to make the bottom flush with the bottom of the wall. Now, you put pins in, and they used to have, and I don't know if they still have them, they used to call them sequin pins, and they were smaller. They weren't near as big as these. They worked really well. They were a little thicker also, but you can use just standard sewing pins. I got these at Walmart. I got a lot of them. Okay, so if you are the type who likes to measure, by all means, please measure out where your triangle is going to fit, and then you'll have a guide. I'm not so picky about that, so I'm just going to stick the pin into the outside of the wall I'm making, and then stick it into my triangle piece, trying not to make it go up through the sides, which this one is kind of doing. Now if it's on an inside wall, you know, where it's not going to show, like this isn't going to show. If it's in a place like that and you do come through a little bit, like I almost did right, I don't know if you can see it, where is it? No, I can't really see it. Right there, it almost came through the paper backing on the foam core. If it's an interior thing that's not going to show, I mean, it's really no big deal. But yeah, that can happen really easy because, especially if you're using a cheap foam core like I'm using, this is Dollar General, I think I paid $1 for a sheet. And sometimes it has really hard little, like almost pills of the styrofoam in it. And sometimes they can really throw your pin off. So I'm just going to guess now at where to put this next pin. Hope I'm in the ballpark there. Don't think I was. And I'm going to push it up through. And then you always end up with a little bit of pin sticking out. I don't know if you can see that. What I do is just put it on a harder surface and push it down. And then that holds your piece in pretty good. I mean, it's not really going anywhere. So yeah, that's one way to do that, and I recommend it, especially if you're gluing something like this. The one thing I will caution on is sometimes when you put the pin in, it can move the piece you're working on over. So make sure that you have your edges lined up after you put the pin in or started to put it in. Just a little tip so you don't end up sorry. Okay, so what I'm going to do with these two walls is I am going to use the same faux tile that I did in the kitchen of the house. And what I did with that, and I'm going to show you real quick here how I did that and tell you a couple little things to watch out for. Okay, so I'm going to grab my scoreboard. Now, if you don't have a scoreboard, you can always line it up with like a ruler and do it on something that's just a little softer, like some foam or stuff like, you know, like that. And you just go down the edge of your ruler with like a ball tool, or maybe you have a bone folder laying around, and then you would just lay it down lay your piece of poster board down, put your ruler up where you want it, and then just score it a couple of times. And I did these 1/2 inch, that would be 6-inch tiles in, in life size. 4-inch tiles are extremely hard to do with this, but it's easier than making single tiles. So what I did was, and I'm asking you please excuse my scoreboard, I use it a lot, it needs a good cleaning, and I usually do that with an old toothbrush. But anyway, okay, so here we go. So let's get lined up with the edge over here. What I do is I just put it into the scoreboard, and I take my bone folder. You can use a ball stylus, like I said, whatever you've got that will work to, to leave the imprint in your paper, poster board, whatever you're using. And I just score down on the 1/2 inch mark. Now, I mean, if you can just mark these out too with your 1/2 inch. If you don't have the scoreboard just gives you, the 1/2 inch. So what I like to do is I like to go down 2 times, and I'm not pressing real hard, but I'm pressing hard enough that my bone folder stays in these grooves. Because the poster board is thick, it has a tendency, if you're not pressing too hard, you will go off the side and end up in another groove, and you will have marks, which I don't know if you can see them on there. My lighting is from natural light today, so, but yeah, I have marks on there. The paint will cover those up if they're not too deep. The other one, I got kind of deep because I wasn't paying attention. So, just another thing to keep in mind if you're using the scoreboard. Yep, see, I just did it. I went down, and I wasn't paying attention. So I like to score 2 times over my line. This would also be a good way to make something like, some call it wainscoting, some call it beadboard. Be a great way to do that also, if you didn't have any wood or anything to make it out of. So now I hope you can see that, I have a scored line there. Then I like to flip it over so that the lines that were going vertical are now going horizontal on the scoreboard, and I go through and I repeat the same motion on all of my tiles I want to make. You got to make sure that also that your poster board stays up at the top of your scoreboard if you're using one. Because if it slips down, you could get a kind of a little angle. Okay, now this is what I have, and I hope you can see that. I can't tell from the camera. But there are the little squares from the tiles. Now you'll notice the last lines I did are much deeper than the lines I did before. So what I do is I just go one more time and I don't press quite as hard over. I turn it so that the original lines I scored were vertical, and that one didn't want to score. And I just go over them again, not as hard as I did the last time. And you don't have to do this if you're okay with your lines not being, you know, quite so pronounced. You can do that, and then I flip it and I do the other way one more time also. And then you end up with, I'm hoping you can see that. You end up with your marks for your tiles. So, now on to mixing the paint. Now when I did the floor, I was having serious misgivings after I did it about the pink and white tile. Is it really authentic? Is it, you know. But pink was very popular back in the day, and so I'm like, yeah, we're gonna go with it. I thought about going in with a brush and meticulously painting each little square black. Not gonna happen. So what I want is, I want a pink, but I don't just want this baby pink I used. Cameo pink they call it. And so I am going to try to make it just a little more salmon colored by introducing some flamingo coral. So we'll see what happens here. This could get interesting. I'm not very good at mixing paint. So I'm just going to put enough in there that I think is probably going to do this project. It won't take much. Maybe a little bit more. And then, I gotta do that. We're going to introduce a little bit of flamingo coral into it. Whoa, that was more than I wanted to put in, believe me, because that's pretty orange. Now let's mix it up and see what we end up with. I just don't want it quite as baby pink. I'm not sure that's doing what I wanted. I think we're getting too bright. Oh dear. Yeah, it's really not. I bought this flamingo coral because I was going to make a salmon color for a different dollhouse I'm doing. I don't know about this. We'll add one more drop, right? This may just end up to be the worst thing I've ever done, because it's getting pretty bright. I think we'll have to knock it down with something. Oh, yeah. Oh, not looking too promising. What have I got that we could try? I've got some khaki. I might take a little of the bright out of it. I don't think we want English ivy. All right, people, we're going to throw a little bit of khaki in here, and we may end up throwing the whole mess out. Not just a touch. We're going to see if this takes down that color just a little, or what it does to it. I used to do what I called make a mess on Monday. Yeah. That was always fun. There were certain people who really liked that. This is make a mess. This is just plain out and out make a mess. We're not, you know, it's not, it doesn't have to, well, come out of there. Who wants to make bubbles? There we go. I don't think this is going to do it. I don't think it's the right color to tame this stuff down, and I don't want to go light. Well, you know what? We're going to use this, because I don't want to waste it. And it's not going to be what I wanted, because it's not. Well, there goes my idea of making salmon for the other house. Oh well, live and learn, right? All right, so we're going to go with this pink. I don't know what my cats are doing. We're going to go with this pink that's just a little bit darker than the pink on the floor. We'll see what happens. Let's just go for it. All right, I'm just going to paint it on. This is not going to be the tile that's going to have the grout lines in between. You could sure do that if you want. I'm not going to do it. I was hoping we could probably have this video, this room pretty much wrapped up today, but then I came up with another idea, and that one I will be doing off camera because it's going to be a bit fiddly, and I've not done it before. And I mean, it's not that I have a problem with coming on here and just doing things in front of you guys I've never done before, but I think I'm going to just do that one off camera. Well, it's not as bad looking in person as I thought. I don't know what it's going to look like for you guys on camera, but not near as bad as I thought. It's kind of, well, it's better than it could have been. Let's put it that way. Let's move that one over. I usually end up going over these with 2 coats, just simply because sometimes you don't get all the way down in those little lines. I don't want to go with too thick of coats of paint. That one's looking a little blotchy when it dries, but I'm almost liking it. So we'll see. The thing I don't know is whether to make this that really glossy tile they used to have. I didn't in the kitchen. But this is the bathroom. A lot of the tile, you know, back in the day was very shiny and glossy. It was ceramic. It was highly glazed. So that is something I'm debating right now, is whether to go ahead and make it a really glossy tile, which I might just do. I'm so excited, guys. I finally get some time off from work. Finally. I'm going to get like 6 days, which is more than I hoped for. I was hoping for 3. I'm getting 6. So that's pretty amazing for me. That has a lot of stress, and you need those times. And when your company is short on staff, you don't get days off very often. Hello, Mr. Mio. Mr. Mio has just come in here. All right, I'm going to let that... See it. Oh, that one's almost dry already. I think we can go ahead. I'm just going to put one more coat on. Just try to get anything that I didn't get before. Those little white spots, which there were a few showing. So this is just going to be a really light coat over both pieces. So it's getting a little blotchy looking, and I kind of like it. I just don't want stark white showing. Because if I held that better, it wouldn't go everywhere. Okay, so that one is done. I'm going to call it done. And I'm going to go right back and do this one too, because it's almost dry too. Now this one had a lot more white than the other one showing through. So we're just going to try to get those spots. I keep slipping because my fingers are already full of paint, but I don't want to get my fingers in the paint, right? I should just hold on better. All right, I'm going to let those dry, and I will come back to you when they're dry, and we'll get these walls installed. And our pieces are dry, so now we're going to take the pieces I've cut, and the back wall is shorter than the side wall up there. So what I'm going to do is just lay down a good line of tacky glue, which is probably clogged up because I didn't put the lid on. Oh. Okay, I got it. I'm just going to lay down a good coat of tacky glue. Make sure I get the edges good because that's where I'm going to really want to make sure it sticks. Just going right over those pins. They won't show once the poster board is on, unless I push too hard, which not in the plans. I'm just going to kind of smear this all over the middle just to make sure it gets a good grab. I'm not going to smooth it down because I don't feel that I will need to. By all means, if you want to, go ahead. And I did cut the edge of this a little bit crooked over here on the side, so there'll be a gap, but we're going to take care of that. So it's not going to be a big, huge deal. And also, I'm lining it up with the top edge. The bottom, of course, there will be something going around the bottom. And there will be something on the top, but as I said, it's something I'm probably going to do off camera because it's going to be a rather fiddly process, and we'd have a video that was 100 hours long. So that's what my wall is looking like right now. I don't know if you can see it. I'm trying to turn it so you can see the little faux tile in it. Now you could just take and make your own tile too. Just cut, whatever size squares you want and make them like a mosaic. Just put them on there. That would also work. And I'm going to glue the one on the longer piece, which is the side wall. I'm zoomed in quite a bit. Maybe I can zoom out a little bit. There we go. That's better. You can see my mess. All right, and we'll just do the same thing with this side. Make sure we got plenty of glue on the edges and that they are to the edge. Putting some glue in the middle just to kind of hold it. Okay. Best lay the glue down again or we won't be getting it out once again. And I'm just lining this up with the edges. Making sure I have that top edge all lined up. Press it down around the sides, make sure it's all nice. Down. Whoops. That's the only bad part. They tend to want to fall over because they're not heavy. Yeah. Okay, well, I honestly don't know what I think of that color. I don't really know what I think of that color. But we're going with it because I made it. I put it on there. We're going with it. We shall see. As my mother would always say, we shall see. So I'm going to put this paint up here just to hold that up for a minute. And I'm going to once again find my little door. And we should be able to install these soon. I will be installing the back wall first. So let me bring you up and see if we can get you in. Oh, my tripod's thinking. Okay. See if we can get you up into the bathroom. There it is. No, wait, nope, that's the bedroom. There's the bathroom. My tripod is sinking on me. Unusual. I guess I didn't have it out all the way. It's an antique 1950s tripod that Rob picked up, and Rob's my brother, for those of you who don't know. Let's zoom in. Maybe we can go up a little higher. Okay, if it will focus, I think we're good. So what I'm going to do now to glue this piece in is I'm going to take my tacky glue and I'm going to run it along, well, now you can't see. I'm going to run it along the slanted edges and the bottom and along the top where I have my beveled edge. That will still make it very easy to remove. As you know, that's what I'm about on this one, is making it easy to remove if someone were to acquire this house and want to change it, or if I decide, you know, in years down the road that, you know, Grandma needs an upgrade or something like that. So I am just gluing where I said I was gluing. I'm not doing it on camera because I don't want to have to keep flipping the tripod up and down. I got the slanted sides glued. Now I'm just gluing the bottom, and I'm going all along the bottom edge. Little dots of glue. I don't need a lot. And down the bottom edge of each of those triangle pieces. This should give us a nice fit against the ceiling up there and make our wall even, because if you just try to put your walls up there without something behind them to give you an equal distance, your wall is going to be kind of off. So I fitted this in before I ever got to the stage of gluing, just to make sure that it was going to work right. And it did fit really nicely. And I don't know if you can see it on here, but there, I guess you're not really looking at this corner, but over in this corner on this side, there is a gap by the wall. That will be taken care of. So as soon as I'm sure I've got that in there pretty good, I need to wipe off a little bit of glue that got on the floor, but it's protected with the Mod Podge, so just wipe it up. It'll be fine, like so. And I got some glue residue over there that I'll have to go get a wipe for, but I'll do that after we're done. Take that out of there. And once again, I'm just going to be doing the same thing to this piece, just gluing. I'm going to glue this one edge that's going to go toward the back. That's the only difference. I did not glue the other edge because I knew there was a gap. Oh, and I set my glue up. So just down the side, whoops, where am I at? Down the side, like that, and then across the bottom. I'm sorry, I'm shaking. Oh, come on. I have a new bottle of tacky glue, but I don't want to. I think there's still a little too much in here. I couldn't add it. So just down the bottom. I hope you can see some of what I'm doing. This isn't ideal. I don't believe there would have been a good angle for doing this. And then down the edges of these. Like I said, a lot of this dollhouse is just using up scraps of stuff that I had that I didn't want to waste. I don't like to waste. Everything costs money, and it's costing more and more money all the time now. So wasting to me is not an option. Not if I don't have to. Okay, so I now have all my edges glued. And I'm going to put this one in. And this one I've got to watch just a little more carefully because I've got to get it in there right for one, so it all evens up and lines up where I want it. And I also have to get it lined up even on this floor, and for some reason, I don't know why, it's not lining up real even. So we're just going to go ahead and line it up as best I can. It'll be straight enough. But I am having a problem with this outside corner. I think everything will be fine. In the end, might be a little crooked just a bit. But we're not going to worry too much about that. I think we are pretty straight. Looks good. Yeah, there's my mess. I got to clean up back there in that corner. But yeah, there it is. Okay, so that's what I'm basically going to be doing for today. Over here, you'll see where this white spot is. I'm going to take, I believe, some mat board, and I'm just going to cover this. Just so it's finished off nicely. Just so you can't tell that somebody, you know, put something in there like they probably shouldn't have. This has moved on me, so I want to make sure I get that in right. But I've still got to move it out just a bit because otherwise it's not lining up on my squares, which were even when I put them in. So as even as I could get them. So that's how that's starting to shape up. And this corner back here also has a gap. Not to worry. Everything's going to be taken care of in the end. And now we're going to put in one more thing. And that is the little door that I showed you earlier. Not a fancy door, not a great door. But since there is a space behind the walls, and I know it's back there, and most old houses, when they had like maybe even a small attic space, I had one in my house, and my house is over 100 years old, have little crawl spaces. Now mine has one outside to go under a porch that's been enclosed, and you know what, guys? it's not near as big as the one I'm making. But we're just going to put this little door right here for a little pretend crawl space. It's behind that wall. I'm going to move you over a little bit so you can see it sitting back there in the corner. But a lot of old houses had these. They're just little touches. I'm sure Grandma will put something in front of it so that it's not really noticeable. But it was a very authentic thing back then, and so I am putting this old door back there. So everyone will know there's a little crawl space back there. I think that's kind of cute. I'm pretty happy with the color it turned out. I know you probably can't see the tiles as well, but you know, that's the hazards of doing it the way I did it for this. Cutting the tiles out, giving them some dimension, and then gluing them down like I did the floor probably would have been the better way to go. But I'm okay with this. I'm happy with this. And this just about wraps up our video today. And I do apologize. Monday's video was not out on Monday. It was out on Tuesday because I scheduled it to start, and I'm used to scheduling it for the next day. And so I did the video, I put it up on Monday, but I scheduled it for Tuesday. So that's why, and I apologize for that. And this one's a little later in the day, but I had some things going on, and so I will get it to you as soon as I can today, which is Thursday, which will be right after I get done with this and go through it and see how it went. And we will see you next Monday. I will have my fiddly little things done, and we are going to finish up the bathroom on Monday. So I hope that you will all join me. I'm very happy for those of you who have come along on this journey so far. Hopefully we are going to make this into one really cute house, and it's going to be a whole lot better than when I started. I want to take this time right now to say welcome to anyone who's new to the channel or just stop by to see what's going on. I hope you like what you saw, and I hope all of you do too. Please, if you would, hit like and subscribe. It really helps the channel out and it would make my day. With that said, I hope that all of you have a great weekend, and I will see you next Monday, and we'll finish up Grandma's bathroom. Thanks for joining me. Bye.